Are we live? I think we are actually. Okay, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the NarikChase channel. I'm your boy NarikChase, and in this video, we're doing another Streamline podcast. Of course, Streamline is a good 20-minute segment where I talk about a great many things. Sometimes a few in one video, sometimes one topic per video. But in this one, in episode 45, we're going to be talking about something I thought about the other day, and it's called The Legend of Zelda Fighting Game Ideas. I was thinking to myself, why in the hell do we not have an actual Legend of Zelda fighting game? Now, I do realize that not every game that's a franchise should have a bit of expansion to it. Now, I will say this. Now, Nintendo did a great idea. I had a great idea by doing Super Smash Bros. Because it took all of these obscure characters and these popular characters and all of these great characters, put them in a great fighting video game. But having said that, now that I was thinking about it, I was like, does Zelda be really sweet if they actually had a freaking fighting video game? I guess inspiration for it came from thinking about Mortal Kombat, Injustice, the Marvel vs. Capcom. Something else I came across. I was looking up a lot of Legend of Zeldas. In fact, I was working on my Legend of Zelda rap. And I was like, yes, that's actually a pretty freaking sweet idea. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to go for it, but I'm one of the fans that's like, okay, I think it's a good idea. Let's roll with it and see what happens. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the topic of this video. All right. Now, when I was thinking about the Legend of Zelda idea, I kind of looked up online, and yes, there are other people that think of the same thing, had interesting posts, had interesting points to add out. And I'm not going to just run down everybody's stuff, but there is something I was thinking about. If there was a fighting video game for the Legend of Zelda, which format would it be? Would it be a 2D fighter? Would it be a 3D fighter? Now, I played tons of video games, especially fighting games. They got a lot of great 2D fighters that work well as 2D fighters and probably won't translate well into 3D fighters, but they have 3D fighters that work really well as 2D fighters and probably won't translate well into 2D fighters. And there are some that will translate into either or. Now, more anime-based games that we've seen in the past and recently, anime games typically do a better job of actually playing better in 3D. With the 3D arena, with the 3D environment, stuff like that. But in more of the traditional Western style type games, such as Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, they seem to work well as 2D fighters. Now, where does The Legend of Zelda, if there was a fighting game, land in this? I actually think it could probably work as both. Now, we've seen a bit of this in Soul Calibur 2, where we know that Link was in the game and he did fight really well, at least in my opinion, because I actually like the character. And if you think about Super Smash Bros., it is a 2D fighter. Even though it has 3D elements to it, it's still a traditional 2D fighter. Or not traditional, but it is a 2D fighter, and it works really well as a 2D fighter. Now, having said that, let's take things into consideration. The Legend of Zelda is an open world video game with hack and slash combat mechanics to it, and with the what was it, Hyrule Warriors, it kind of made focused a bit more on the combat, and it kind of made it pretty interesting thoughts to say yes, it probably would work as a 3D game as well. And personally, I think it actually would work as either or. Now, there's a bit of limitations when it comes to like to 2Ds and like would it be like level. Which there are things about 2Ds I think are awesome. There are things I like about 3Ds too, but the 3D versus 2D aspect of the Legend of Zelda, I think, is something that probably should be addressed, because I think if it doesn't work, if it's a 3D and it doesn't work in 3D, then I think that the 2D that it would probably fail. But that I would say the same thing about the 2D, because I feel like a 3D at this point for a game like this, it would be pushing the bounds, but also a 2D for this point probably be like it's being a little bit too restrictive. But honestly, I think, like I said, I will say that I think it actually would work out better as, I would say, a 3D, because of the fact that the games of all, like more of the recent games, Ocarina of Time, Hyrule Warriors, Majora's Mask, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild, all of these games, they're open world, so you're doing a lot of open world combat, and it does feel like it possibly could be taking a step back if it was in 2D. Now, this is why I think the compromise would work better on. I believe on bigger console games, it should work as a 3D. her handheld games, a 2D. I think that'll be the best. Excuse me, guys. The best answer for that. Now there was a game back in the day called what's that? Not Golden Sun. I can't remember. Damn. I don't remember. It's for the Nintendo 64, and I saw it, Flying Dragon or something like that. And in that game, you got to play as both 3D and 2D, just depending on the mode that you want. And I like that. So if they could think about making a fighting video game, do it like that. But they didn't have to change the mechanics and stuff like that. So I don't know if they'll really go out that way. But I really think it probably would benefit better as a 3D game. But I really wouldn't mind it as a 2D game because there's just a lot they can do with the 2D as well. So there is that point. I'm one of those fans that, like, if I'm gonna have a video game, if I'm gonna have like a video game be changed like a fighting game like this, like I want tons of freaking characters. Now I have not played all of the Legend of Zelda games. I haven't even played half of them. I'm sorry, guys. Stop calling this Streamline and call it Sleepy Time. Because good God, I think it's the chair. And I sit down, just make me sleepy. But anyways, I would like to see a pretty good roster of characters, both good, both bad, and some of the more obscure characters too. Me personally, I haven't played all of them. I played, I think, A Link to the Past. I think that's what, yeah, Link to the Past. I played Ocarina of Time. I played Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, a little bit of Hyrule Warriors, and a little bit of Wind Waker too. A little bit of Wind Waker too. Not even enough to say I even played it. But like I think that would be one thing that fans would definitely need to I'd like to see. And I will say this: Hyrule Warriors did a great job of giving people a lot of characters, even though they technically somewhat played similar play styles. But you had a large roster of characters that you never got to control in the other games. And why does it always seems like when you have a company that makes a certain series that do all right, they do good, they do all right, and then it seems like they're getting repetitive with what their game, what they're doing with it. But then we have another company come in and make a title within that same series. They seem to put in some new stuff into it. I don't know. Bethesda and Fallout New Vegas, developed by Obsidian, and of course, like this, Hyrule Warriors wasn't a part of Nintendo. Didn't do Hyrule Warriors, so. But anyways, characters, and that's one of the biggest things I've always not liked about Legend of Zelda is the fact that you are playing the same character. And it's not even like some of the games. Like it's only one game you're like playing as Zelda, or one or two games you might be playing as Zelda or with Zelda. At least at some point in the game, you should be able to interchange between Link and Zelda. That kind of makes sense. But I did come up with a list of characters, and a lot of them are on the Hyrule Warriors list, which is where I came for. I got most of it from, and I was trying to come up with some more other characters as well, but it really didn't get that far. Link, of course, Zelda, of course, Ganondorf, of course. I got Zant from Twilight Princess, Impa, Agatha, Fi, Fo, I don't know how to say her name, Fi. Midna from Twilight Princess. I'm talking about like her princess form. Midna and Link, as in, Midna in her little imp form, and Link in his wolf form, kind of like what they had in Super Smash Brothers, where you playing as the Wolf Link and Impas and Midna. So like that'd be pretty cool. Darunia, of course. Saria, you had to give her a bow and arrow and teach her how to do some wood magic or something. She definitely needs to be fleshed out a lot more. Of course, Princess Rudo. I would also say Jarahim. I don't know who the hell that is. I know. I think I don't remember off the top of my head. All I know is on Hyrule Wars. Now the bad guy, Sia, from Hyrule Warriors. Hell yeah, she was awesome. Sheik, Majora. I love the Majora Skull Kid. Like I would love to see him in a freaking fighting game. I was so disappointed that he wasn't in Super Smash Brothers. Dark Link, and when I say Dark Link, I want him to have his own like play style. similar to Link, but definitely him have his own. Kind of like Captain Falcon and Ganondorf. Change it up, damn it. The Great Fairy, have her actually do some shit. Volvanga, and when I say Volvanga, the Hyrule Warrior version of it. And actually, I wouldn't mind them going back and doing redoing all of the other bosses from Ocarina of Time and make them like have humanoid forms, but have the abilities of their monstrous forms. Like I think that'll be actually a pretty good idea. Yuga and Lana, and that's just Legend of Zelda has many more characters than that, but those are just a few to name. So in terms of characters, just give us a lot of great, memorable characters. Another thing I would like to see in the Legend of Zelda game, and which is usually typical that you see in fighting video games, is skins and customizations. With Ganon, with Ganondorf, with Link, with Zelda, there's like literally no reason you cannot have like at least 10 unlockable skins per character. And I would like to have the skins be where they actually affect combat a little bit. Like if you look at the game Injustice 2, you customize your characters and it actually improves on your speed, it actually improves on your health, it actually improves on your power, like things like that. That would be a pretty awesome. Now, and I got customization. I guess if you want to go the customization route, do like Tekken and just have where you can change the character's color, their hair, or some BS like that. So that'd be a mechanic that they introduce, but they won't necessarily have to just just dump all the money into, because this would be like an experiment, and I wish they would do that actually. So skins and customizations definitely should be something that's in the game. No microtransactions, of course. Then the dumbass loot crate boxes, just full on unlockable stuff. Weapons, of course. I would like to see, like, if you have certain weapons or whatever, it affect the combat. Like Link uses like the big ball and chain, how he can use that as in a fight, or will that actually be a part of his combat as a special move or a part of a combo? I would like to see Link actually play with other weapons outside of the Master Sword and the shield. Like I know that's what his primary weapons are, but he have all these other great weapons. Let those be used in combos with each other, or possibly that number looks familiar. I don't know. I'll check it in. I'll call it back in the day. But allow Link, who has access to all of these different weapons, to just have those in his combat, or have their own playstyle. Or if you're gonna do it like that, do like Mortal Kombat X, and have Link have like 3 different playstyles, and each playstyle has a certain amount of his weapons and equipment in it, so it can change up the playstyle, which I think that'll be pretty cool too. And I guess you could say do the same thing for like Ganondorf. Have him use magic in one play style, as well as a sword in the next, and have like a combination of the two in another. Or it may have him have like different weapons or something like that. Zelda the same thing. In one she uses arrows, in another she uses magic, and another she uses a sword. So you're giving a lot of variety to the characters with the weapons and the equipment being added to the combat system, and let it be some unlockable ones, and even give the weapons customizable skins and stuff like that. I think that'll work out as well. Of course, if you're going to be in the Legend of Zelda, they're going to have dungeons and stuff like that. Now, if it's 2D, I would love to have these transitions and interactive environments and stuff, so you can like knock somebody into like lava or something like that. But that would also work out well for like 3D, kind of like when you're playing Soul Calibur and you're like fighting on an arena that's like floating through the water, and you can knock them off the map, which will work well for 3D. I think that'd be pretty cool for like the levels and the dungeons and stuff. But I think also that if it's a 2D format, then you could have more of these interactive environments. Like y'all could be fighting on top of this ledge up here, and you can knock them down, and they fall down into like a boss arena area. And you're like, yeah, when I was playing Ocarina of Time, I remember that area. You're like, think about one of the levels could be Volvanga's layer from Ocarina of Time, and they have these little pits in the pits all around the arena that shoot up fire, and if you can knock them off the ledge into the lava, you win. You know what I'm saying? And then the fire shoots up in the geysers, and you happen to be in that area, and it hits you. Like that would be pretty cool. Think about another one as well as the water temple, where you in the they're in like the little pool with the little things right there. You can. With the little platforms in the middle of the water, knock them in the water, or even have the boss kind of manipulating the stages. Like I would like to see that. And now that I said that too, like that'd be pretty cool because if you're fighting in a certain bad guys or a boss's dungeon or something like that, or the temple or something like that, have them show up and do something where you can you can like not ignore it, but you like if he's gonna do some kind of blast attack or slam his fist into the ground and affect both players or something like that. Like I think that would be freaking awesome. So in terms of the levels and the dungeons and something like that, I think it would be freaking awesome. Now the question is, will there be a story? I'm not sure because I would want them to do such a great job with the combat. Like, will this be like an original story? Because if this is an original story, it's going to be kind of weird because Hyrule Warriors did a great job of putting all of these characters throughout the series, throughout the franchise into one game, and they would have to turn around and do that again. Now, there are fighting games that do have stories, and there are fighting games that don't have stories. And I think, for the most part, I think it would be acceptable to me if they had somewhat of a story. And like I said, I've played fighting games that had great stories. Mortal Kombat, the 2011 one was, and Injustice games were like two really good like fighting games that had really good stories. And I would like to actually see them do the same thing with like this Legend of Zelda game. Like I think that would be straight up beast. But if they didn't, just go ahead and give us a solid campaign. But I would be interested to see how they could do this again. Bring these characters from all the different franchises and just put them into a compelling story. And also, I wouldn't mind seeing and like in like every game, I want to see some new characters as well. The characters that I just named off are just some of the ones that are just like well known or the most recent. Oh, I think that that Gillenheim guy, Jarahim, he was the bad guy in Skyward Sword, I think. Yeah. So I remember I was like, man, that dude got a goofy ass name. But anyways, so as far as the story, I'm really interested to see how they would put this together. Or would this be like one of those? Like I wouldn't mind them actually doing something like, okay, if our story is being told throughout the ages and we keep coming back for these fights and stuff. I forgot Demise. He could be a playable character too, and it'd be pretty cool to see Ganondorf fight his progenitor. Like that would be freaking awesome. But I wouldn't mind them come up with a story where it's like, okay, all of our lives we've been living it over and over again, fighting the same battle. Maybe this is the end of the line in this final battle. And this game is exploring that story, which I really think would be freaking awesome. Uh, but yes, those are my thoughts on fighting game for the Legend of Zelda. Might come back with this as a break of the base, talk with someone about it, have better points. Maybe I'll go and read some articles next time to throw out some interesting ideas and get my commentary on them as well. But yes, this is just a quick list that I had thought of, and I was like, you know what, I gotta go ahead and do this video. But having said that, I'm going to go ahead and end the video on this note. Guys, in the comment section below, let me know what your thoughts are on a possible Legend of Zelda fighting game. One, just let me. I also want to know y'all, like, really, should it be a 2D game? Should it be a 3D game? Should we play it like Mortal Kombat? Should we play it like Naruto? And also just give me some thoughts and some points that I missed, and tell me if you agree with any of my points. And guys, it looks like we're gonna be just trying to upload on Thursdays. So typically we're gonna be getting back on Thursdays, but stay tuned, guys, for more videos on Thursdays. Of course, be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what's going on this channel. And stay tuned because we have a lot more coming out today. Peace out, buddies.